Well, here we are once again, and yeah, this weekend of boxing may not be full of big names, or you know, but if you look closely, there are actually quite a few good fights. I mean, potentially good fights anyway, and some interesting matchups. So let's start with the Pulse Boxing Predictions Volume 91. Yeah, let's see now. Sorry. Trying to find them. Okay, well. Yes. Let's start with Krzysztof Wlodarczyk, the former Polish world champion, cruiserweight. He's fighting this weekend against rather unknown Alexandru Jur from Romania. Wlodarczyk has now been in the game for quite long now, and he's 37, so he doesn't have much left. Definitely, he's not what he used to be, but he still got something left, in the tank. And this guy Yuri is just European level fighter at best. He's fought a couple of decent fighters, but he hasn't really beaten anyone. So at first I was kind of tempted to put down a Wlodarczyk stoppage, but even though Yur has been stopped, before, it was by Dmitry Kudryashov, who is a really hard puncher, and of course quite a lot fresher and younger than Wlodarczyk. So yeah, I mean, Wlodarczyk can still hit, but he did stop in his last fight a guy called Al Sands, but he was also knocked out by Murat Gassiev not so long ago. Well, I think just there is a good chance that this goes the distance. It's a 10-round fight also. And this guy, Yuri, is not really a bad fighter at all. So he did win the European Cruiserweight title, and he's not garbage anyway. That much I can say. So yeah. I think he will give Wlodarczyk a good fight. Yeah, definitely. And most likely, as I said, there is a slight chance that Wlodarczyk can get some kind of stoppage, but I mean, the chances I'd say are not too big anyway. So Wlodarczyk to win on points. And then I'd like to go over to first in Russia there is one fight anyway that is interesting enough. It's between Alexei Egorov, who is I don't really know anything about. He's 7-0 anyway. He's undefeated, and Thomas Ost, who is of course former super middleweight and light heavyweight IBO champion of the world. Yes, Egorov, he seems to be a hard puncher, and he did beat a few good fighters, and And yeah, he's the shorter man here by 3 inches, but he's also younger, slightly younger, and has of course less mileage on him. So he's stopped Latif Coyote, that's his most famous victory so far, by a corner retirement in 6 rounds. That was last year. Yes. So as I said, he only has 7 fights, but 6 are by knockout. So this guy can hit definitely. While Osthuizen is not really a big puncher, not at this weight for sure, and he wasn't really at light heavyweight either. I mean, he never was a really, well, he's got some knockouts, but mostly against weaker opponents, and he never really was a really hard puncher at any weight. He's just a very tall guy, almost freakishly tall for a super middleweight anyway he was, and also light heavyweight, one might say. So yeah, I mean, Osthuizen has now lost twice, and he's still a good boxer, of course, but he tends to be a bit lazy sometimes in some fights. Like against, I remember Robert Barrage, I watched that fight, and yeah, he just didn't do that much anyway, like he could have. So this may work against him. I mean, to win in Russia against a Russian who is, up and coming fighter, you really have to dig in and be very, very active. So I'm not sure if he can do that, but I mean, if he can utilize his experience, then he can win. Perhaps Osthuizen, but I wouldn't. I think it's safer to bet on Egorov to win. Also by decision, because Osthuizen just simply hasn't been stopped yet. He seems to be a rather tough guy, and as I mentioned, he's very big, very tall for the division, and yeah, well, yeah, quite tall. So, I mean, most likely outcome that I can see is that Egorov wins on points. So that's my prediction anyway. Alright, then we move over to UK, and yes, well, Joshua Buatsi is fighting. He's a really a force of nature. He's won his last 3 fights by a first round knockout. So he's fighting a guy who is kind of decent, but he's not going to avoid getting knocked out anyway. Liam Conroy. So I think that will end in like 1 or 2 rounds, that fight also. Yeah, very likely. And so I put down a 2nd round stoppage for Buatsi against Liam Conroy. And then Lawrence Okoli versus Vali Camacho. That is a better fight to watch, because both guys are, rather known, I mean, well known in Britain anyway. But Okoli is, of course, a clear favorite against Vali Camacho, who has been stopped already 4 times, no less. Okoli, all his stoppages so far have been early, once. So I think this will perhaps go to the 5th round or something. Yeah, 4th, 5th, 6th. So the earliest Camacho has been stopped so far was in 4 rounds against Arfan Iqbal. Yes. So I think 5th round TKO for Okoli. And then there is Jesse Magdaleno who's fighting Rico Ramos. Yeah, that's a really pretty interesting fight. I mean, Magdaleno is now coming back after losing, of course, to Isaac Dog Boy, and yeah, his first loss after 25 victories. He also lost his title, the world title. Yeah, he's fighting the guy who has, who once was perhaps considered a really good fighter, but has since lost 5 times and really been exposed as just not having, what it takes to really, make it at highest level. Rico Ramos has been stopped twice, but quite, brutally both times. He's also gone the distance in his 3 other losses. I mean, yeah, he's a rather solid fighter, but definitely not like he appeared at first when he knocked out Shimoda in 2011. So this is a 10-round fight. I think, well, originally I put down Magdaleno to win like an early knockout, but I don't know really now that I think twice. I mean, this is his first fight since really kind of brutal loss, a late knockout loss. Yeah, this is gonna be kind of, yeah. Perhaps it will not go as smooth, for Magdaleno. But he's still got the power, so we know that Ramos can be knocked out and has been, so I don't know. I still think Magdaleno can knock Ramos out. But will he? That's the question. Has he really? How damaged is he from that loss to Dog Boy? Yeah. So I think definitely Magdaleno will win this fight, definitely. And then Kubrat Pulev versus Bogdan Dinu, an all Eastern European showdown, heavyweight, of course. Yes, Dinu was, of course, stopped first time last year when he fought Jarrell Miller, and that was a painful lesson for him, of course. Otherwise, he's a big, heavyweight, big, strong guy, but doesn't seem to have, quite enough to compete at the highest level. While Pulev is kind of getting old, of course. I think he's 38, almost 37. Oh, yeah. And but he's still the superior boxer, of course, no doubt. And he was rather impressive in his last fight against Hughie Fury, and he was rocked once. I think it was 6th round, and but he came back. He showed good composure and everything, and really dominated the fight most of the time. I think he won maybe 8 of 10 rounds. I don't remember how many rounds that fight was, but anyway, Pulev is definitely the favorite to win here, but on points most likely, because he just isn't the guy who, not anymore, I think, that can stop a guy like Dinu, but I don't know really. Dinu hasn't been tested that many times properly, and he was tested when he was really taken apart rather easily. But that was against a guy who is a lot stronger than Pulev, and yeah, a lot more harder hitter also, and more aggressive than Pulev actually. Yeah, so Pulev I think wins this on points. Yes, well, I think that was enough for this time. Yeah, I think I covered the best, I mean, the most interesting fights of this weekend. So there aren't that many, of course, of the highest caliber, but some are. There were a few others that were interesting, but I chose not to include them because, for one, this video would be like 20 minutes, and for number two, they weren't like too good. I mean, there was one guy that was good, and the other guy, is not really good or famous. So, people just wouldn't watch, I think, if I include that. So, yeah, thank you for watching and see you around. Bye bye.